Hello, everyone. Welcome to Motivation Mondays. I'm Shannon Shy. I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you are off to a great start to your week. If you didn't have a chance to join me yesterday for my Rise Beyond OCD interview with superstar therapist, author, advocate, and educator Jon Hershfield, that video is now posted on my YouTube channel. It was a great interview, and I think you'll enjoy it. You're going to learn a lot. This coming Sunday, January 25th, I'll be interviewing the great Dr. Jeff Szymanski. Jeff is a clinical psychologist, an adjunct professor at Harvard Medical School, author, consultant, and former executive director of the International OCD Foundation, which is where I met him. He's a great guy, super smart. I'm excited about that interview. Today, for this video, I want to remind you of having the mindset of perpetual power over OCD. My goal for you is to never to fear the disorder, in the moment or in the future. Personally, I do not fear the disorder at all, because I know what to do if it taps me on the shoulder. This is a huge psychological edge over the disorder because it needs me to fear it and everything it throws my way, the thoughts, the images, the urges, and feelings. And it is betting that I will believe that I cannot handle the uncertainty and anxiety in the moment, so that it can get me to give it what it craves, my emotional, mental, or physical response. I've always been truthful about my OCD story and my recovery, and that continues to this day. Up until a couple of Fridays ago, I have been reporting, including writing about this in my 2021 book, Turning Points, that the last true OCD episode that I had, complete with intrusive thoughts, anxiety, and the perceived need to perform a compulsion, was in 2010. I was in Hawaii at the time. Now remember that I was diagnosed with severe OCD in 1997 after suffering symptoms for many years. I developed my cognitive behavioral strategy based on some advice from my psychologist and through some trial and error. The strategy gradually began to work to weaken the disorder. The intensity and frequency of the thoughts and related anxiety and compulsions decreased progressively. I went off SSRIs in 2003 and never saw another doctor or took meds for OCD since. Since I had not experienced an OCD thought for so long, or episode for so long, people often ask me if I'm cured, whether I am the only person on the planet who miraculously made OCD disappear. Generally, I've responded something to the effect of, I don't have to say that I'm cured, and I don't have to say it has disappeared. Truth is, I don't care if it comes back. That is, OCD comes back and taps me on the shoulder. I know what I'll do if it does. I do not fear the disorder. Now, again, to set up my message for today's Motivation Mondays video, up until a couple of Fridays ago, it had been since 2010 that I had an intrusive thought that gave me anxiety and led to the need to perform a compulsion. And then, on that Friday morning, a few weeks ago, from out of nowhere, OCD tapped me on the shoulder. I was driving my car in the morning while it was still dark near a high school where lots of students walked to school. I was thinking about all the things I needed to do that day while I was driving my car. I stopped at two intersections fairly close together. One was at a subdivision street, and the second was at a major roadway. When I went through the second intersection, I actually purposefully looked to ensure that there were no stragglers in the intersection. Then, and as I proceeded through, the thought immediately occurred to me that I didn't remember checking the other intersection for pedestrians. This quick panic seized me, and I had a slight whoosh of anxiety, followed by a few other thoughts of the possibilities of students being hit or nearly hit and all of those related consequences. And then that was followed by an immediate need to turn my car around and go back and check. Here's the good news. I quickly recognized what was happening. My old sinister enemy, OCD, had tried to sneak in through the small opening in the fence and test me. I recognized it and said, whatever. I allowed the thoughts to remain in my mind, and I drove on to my destination. No checking, nothing. And nothing followed after that, not even a slight whisper from OCD telling me that I was going to regret this mistake of not going back to check. A couple of points to make from all of this. First, this is an example as to why the experts believe that OCD is chronic. Second, it doesn't matter if OCD is chronic. If it tapped you on the shoulder for the rest of your life and you don't ever allow it to control you because you are indifferent to the thoughts and you choose not to respond, OCD cannot adversely affect your life. In my book, that is Defeating OCD. Compared to the constant torture and darkness of the hell pit I lived in before I figured out how to defeat OCD, I'm good enough with where I am. I have my life back, and I have had it back for a long, long time. I do not fear this disorder. So stay on your journey. When OCD hits you, especially out of the blue, pause, assess, and implement your strategy to deprive it of what it craves. You can be where I am. You and I are not different. OCD can be defeated. I'm with you. Let's go.